All right, so after witnessing the past several years, there's not a doubt in my mind that Texas is quote unquote back. My question is this the year that the Longhorns are ready to take the next step and appear in a national championship and win the damn thing? I feel like it very well could be. This year, 2025, feels like the culmination of the past several years for Texas. It feels like they've been slowly but surely, strategically building for this moment, for this year. And it could very well be the year that the Longhorns end up on the mountaintop. Little story time here. I'll get into this. I've been on this Texas kick for the past several years, dating all the way back to 2022. I'll never forget it. I was watching Texas play Alabama at DKR in Austin. This was while I was an Alabama student. And it was in that game, I believe Alabama was either a 24 or 28 point favorite, which was insane. I mean, there are other factors baked into that, but that point spread is still nuts to think about now. But I remember just watching the way that Texas played Alabama. An Alabama program that had a reputation for dominating and being a fixture in the college football playoff and even the national championship for the past several years. And Texas, at this point, they weren't even an upstart. We wouldn't even consider them an upstart. Like, they were still in the process of applying for their LLC, if you will. They were in the very early stages of what they are now. You know, Texas played stuff back in 2022. They had their reputation of, 6-6, 7-5 every year. The average Longhorns who think they're going to be back every year, but then they flop. And that still seemed to be the perception at that time when Texas played Alabama. But there was just something in the way that the Longhorns battled the tide that afternoon. And it was a scorching hot day in DKR. But that did not faze Texas whatsoever. A team with as high of a pedigree as Alabama and as high as their expectations that year in 2022, Texas matched them step for step. They matched them from a talent standpoint. They matched them from a coaching standpoint. They matched them from a preparation standpoint. And even though Texas lost that game on a last-second field goal from Will Reichard, my main takeaway as a Bama fan from that game was, wow, Texas is building something special. We may not see it fully manifest itself this year, but they're building the foundation for something truly special these next several years. And, of course, we saw progress 2023. Texas skyrocketed, cemented a spot in the college football playoff. We saw it happen last year as well. And now here we are in 2025. 3 years after that game. And it feels like Texas has been building step by step for this moment, for this year. The first ingredient, I feel like, in Texas' success this year is, of course, Arch Manning. And that was another move that I saw, and I was like, wow, this could be a telltale sign that Texas is moving in the right direction and building something special, building into a championship contender when they're able to get Arch Manning. I was like, wow, they really might be back. I love Arch Manning's situation because he sat behind Quinn Ewers, a fantastic, experienced quarterback, for the past 2 years, got to learn behind him, got to develop behind him. He's gotten used to Texas' system, and now it's time for him to take the reins. Is there a certain amount of pressure that he's facing this year because of the Longhorn logo? Because of the Manning name in the back of his jersey? Absolutely. But from the glimpses of Arch Manning that I saw last year, I think he's built for this moment. There's certain guys that are just engineered for pressure. I think Arch Manning's a dog. And I think the pressure is going to make a diamond this year. And I feel like Arch Manning's going to be a superstar in Texas. And like we always say, you're only as good as your starting quarterback. But I think Texas has one of the best starting quarterbacks in college football in Arch Manning this year. We haven't seen a ton of him, but I'm cautiously optimistic in what I saw. I think he's going to skyrocket this year. I think he's going to break out in his first year. It's his third year with the program. He's got that experience behind Quinn Ewers, and I think he has confidence from that. You're going to see him ball out this year. He also has a great foundation around him, because one thing that a lot of people are going to point out is that Texas lost a lot of their starting O-linemen last year. And that's very true. However, most of these guys, most of this line that Texas is going to have this year, Arch has been taking second-team snaps with them the past several years. He's been on course with these guys the past several years. So they have chemistry with each other. This offensive line has chemistry with each other, and they understand Arch. That is huge going into the season, especially a game like starting off with Ohio State on week 1 on the road in Columbus. Having that communication, that chemistry down is huge going into a first game like that. Now, you look at Texas's receiving core as well. Yes, of course, it hurts losing Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bonds, Gunnar Helm, take it as you will. But there's still some dogs in Austin right now. You got Ryan Wingo coming back. You got DeAndre Moore coming back. And you've got Emmett Mosley, who transferred from Stanford. And I think he's going to flourish in Texas' system. And then you look at the backfield. You've got Trey Wisner, C.J. Baxter returning as well. This is a dynamic offense. Even though you look at it at the surface, you're like, yeah, they lost a lot of production. Yeah, well, they still have a lot. Because Texas, like I said, dating back to 2022, they've been at the top of the recruiting board every year since then. They've just been stockpiling talent. They have the depth of an Alabama, of an Ohio State, of a Georgia, of an Oregon. They have that here in Texas. Like, they are one of those elite recruiting schools who have depth for days. And so when you lose a lot of guys, you retain a lot. And you can continue to sustain success each and every single year. Let's talk about Texas defense. Of course, same thing. Lost a lot of guys to the drafts, or their time was up and whatnot. But Texas used both the transfer portal and their recruiting operations to get a lot of guys, get a lot of dogs in this building. Texas defense will still be just as stingy this year. I think they'll have a great D-line. I think their secondary will be just as good, even though they lost a couple guys. Texas has a lot of promise on the defensive side of the ball as well. The other major thing that's really going to help Texas out is their schedule. And it's so vitally important to have that go your way. I always allude to Georgia in 2022 when it comes to this. Their schedule in 2022 was a cakewalk. Go back and look at it. I mean, compared to other teams in the SEC, of course, no SEC schedule is easy. But compared to their SEC brethren, it was very manageable. That's the word I'll use. Not easy, but manageable. Texas' schedule is more manageable than most teams in the SEC this year. And that's going to be a huge break because they'll win a lot of games. They'll be in a position at the end of the season where they don't have to rely on other teams. They don't have to win their conference championship to get in. They're going to be pretty much a shoo-in. And so the pressure will be off at that time. And they'll be more rested and rejuvenated for when it's time to really play ball. And you saw that of Georgia in 2022. Yes, they were better. They were more talented than both teams they played, Ohio State and TCU, in those playoffs. But they were better rested. They were rejuvenated. They're energized. They're ready for those games. I think you're going to see that out of Texas this year. That's going to be their situation. To cap this off, this year is the manifestation, the culmination of Steve Sarkisian's vision since he's gotten to Texas. I believe in this since 2022. Even though it wasn't a great season from a wins-losses standpoint, He's been building it since that year. They've been recruiting at a very high level in Austin, and they've used that transfer portal and their NIL funds to their advantage, and they've built a powerhouse. It's not just a 1-year fling now. Like, this is a sustainable powerhouse. But I think Texas has strategically built into this moment, into this year. And 2025 is the year for them to capitalize. I'm not ready to anoint them as my national championship prediction just yet, but I'm really ruminating on it. Let me know what y'all think about this take in the comment section below, but I think this Texas team is going to be special this year. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.